Welcome back to episode 13 of Sad Money Podcast. I'm one half of your crew, Alexander Payne, the other half.
Steven Sihelnik.
Back on this side of the pond, back in New York City.
We're reunited.
Yeah, we're back together again, not, in different time zones and looking at different kind of civil unrest around the world.
Yeah, different economic disparities.
Now we're just looking at it here in New York City.
Yeah, what a week, too, with everything that's been going on
Yeah,
there.
crazy week. Just all kind of stuff going on all over the world. There's the king got coronated.
Yeah, did you see that they drew a dick in the lawn?
They cut a dick in the lawn,
Ahead of
and
time.
then they tried to cut the grass lower, but it made it stick out even more. So, shout out to that prankster over there. I think that was in Bathe. I don't know how you say it.
It's not Bath?
I don't know. Every time I tried to say something in the UK, they told me how I was saying it wrong, pronouncing it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, at least in New York, we make up words. We're cool with that.
Yeah.
You say whatever you want to say, and, welcome to the tribe.
Let's see what else happened. Obviously, here in New York, there's a lot of protests because of the death of Jordan Neely at the hands of a Marine, which is, it's why I'm so late today to even do the podcast, because the trains are all messed up and there's been a lot of protests. But yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. But
Yeah.
what do you got first?
Yeah, well, this week, midweek, I know it was the Fed did their FOMC meeting, and they raised rates again, another 25 basis points that went up, and they kind of set the stage for pausing and saying, okay, well, we raised this, but in the future for the next meeting, we may not raise it. We may just kind of, everyone is saying wait and see. And the other term that's been going along around is higher for longer, where they're not going to cut rates, they're just going to keep them up there. So that was the big macro news from this week.
So basically, they're waiting to see if something breaks.
Yeah, and shit is already broken.
Yeah.
So if more stuff breaks,
Yeah.
how many banks they took down? It was FRC done,
Yeah.
Credit Suisse done. They went global on this shit.
We're still waiting on Deutsche Bank.
Deutsche Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, oh, you know what else is interesting? When First Republic, when they went under this week, a lot of the other regional banks, they fell 40-50% in a day. And the SEC started, looking at the market and saying, is there market manipulation going on? So...
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they may, I think people took it to say they may ban short selling, which they might do. They've done it before. They've paused it for a little bit of time.
Paused it?
Yeah.
Ban? That's how they make most of their money. Isn't it seller boxing? Killing companies and...
Something like that.
What happened to Toys R Us?
Oh.
Sears.
Yeah.
They didn't all just go out of business. Blockbuster? Did
Yes.
you really believe that whole Netflix killed Blockbuster bullcrap?
Nah. Blockbuster was going to buy Netflix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Till they seller boxed it.
They, the SEC also, actually, in that news, there was the largest awarded whistleblower. So a whistleblower basically tipped off some illegal things happening in the market, and they were awarded $237 million. So what I think we should do with the help of everyone who follows Sad Money is get your tips in. We all got to get our tips in, and we can split the pot, right? We can split the pot 30, 40, 50, it can be as big as we want. But SEC is not afraid to hand out money because it's still free, and they want to arrest people for financial crimes.
I would say that if you, you should get a job at a hedge fund just so you can tell on them. And then we can get that money when you come and donate to our Patreon.
I like that too.
I think definitely.
In our Discord, we'll start a whistleblower channel.
Yeah, that would be great.
So we could all be in there. You know what'd be funny is if the whistleblower, it's anonymous who got the award.
Of course.
But if it was Nancy Pelosi for telling on herself.
If it was Nancy Pelosi just getting richer, I think I'm not even going to say what I think because I might go to jail for it. But let's just hope it wasn't Nancy Pelosi getting richer.
It's kind of like Prince. When remember Dave Chappelle did that skit, and then he took.
Oh yeah, he took Dave Chappelle's face and put on his album.
It's
Yeah.
that would be dope. That would be the same thing. She'd basically.
No, because it would be her using insider information,
Yeah.
which is illegal,
Yeah.
to now get richer.
Yeah.
She's already used it to make money off of it.
She's finessing the game. That's
Yeah.
how I see it. But I see what you're saying.
The game is broken.
Yeah.
Nancy's the puppet master. She's like controlling everything.
The strings.
The
yeah.
Godfather.
Yeah. So that's what was happening with the SEC that I saw. And then crypto is kind of back a little bit.
Big man teams.
Did you read about the meme coins going on? Pepe?
Pepe?
Pepe.
Yeah, which was the alt-right meme, the frog.
Oh,
Pepe.
it's an alt-right meme?
Pepe became like the alt-right meme. You remember that?
Well, now Crypto Nation, I guess, has it. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing really. These things don't mean anything to anyone. They're all like something.
Yeah.
Someone takes it and makes it, whatever.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of meme coins that are like new meme coins. There's like that. There's like Wojak.
Wojak?
There's Wojak.
I don't know Wojak.
Gensler is one. Like
Gary
Gen-
Gensler from the
Yeah,
SEC?
It's called Gensler.
Gary Gensler kind of looks like Pepe.
He looks like a
the
meme.
frog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what else? Bob coin. I'm gonna be honest. I had some crypto and some shit coins, and I just moved it into Bob, and it's
It's surging.
it was for a minute, and now it went down a little bit, but it's still above where I bought it.
Okay. So are you gonna sell?
I'll probably lose all my money. with
Yeah.
that. But that's okay. It was already down anyways.
Yeah, you can't even compare it to our friends. We've had friends that have lost way more than
Yeah.
what?
We'll have them on to talk about it.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends that have lost money.
We're gonna have some
crypto.
guests on.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something to do for fun. It's not a lot of money, but it's fun to look at.
It's fun to look at. That's what I do. It's like attractive women when you have no money. It's fun to look at.
Yeah.
Window shopping.
Yes. Yeah. It's a good point. Yeah. I mean, those were like some of the main things that kind of grabbed my attention this week.
Yeah, I think the thing that also happened a bit, I don't know, I guess because we're comedians, we see it a little bit more, is the writer's strike is happening in Hollywood, and they're bringing a lot of the shows to a halt. And I remember in 2008, 2007, something like that, after I graduated high school, I went to go work for television, and the writer's strike stopped me because I was working as a production assistant. And then I went back to school right after that, where I was like, I didn't know this could happen. But it is interesting because we do have friends that now are writers for TV, and they're trying to get paid more money. And I'm all for people getting paid more money. I want to say that first. Forget these big conglomerates. They got the money. But what I will say is they could write better shows. They could definitely do better. Because at this point, I'm not saying ChatGPT could write most of this shit. But you know what? That is what I'm saying. ChatGPT, I think, could write a lot of this. I haven't seen Succession.
Yeah.
The last season of Game of Thrones, that House of the Dragon, I think ChatGPT could have did that.
It probably did.
It probably did. Let me see. What else have you watched that?
Dude, I don't even watch TV anymore.
I watched that show Beef. That was I watched 2 episodes.
Was that good?
That was enjoyable. That
Okay.
was not a ChatGPT show. That guy deserves his money.
Yeah. I watched just reruns of Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I'm talking to someone that likes Seinfeld, but is not a fan of Curb. They say it's too tense.
That's crazy.
It is insane.
I would go the other way around. I could see you liking one, but not the other.
I've begged her to please give Curb another chance.
Wow.
Because I told her I'm the Black Larry David. I was like, I need you to watch this. Please.
I think you need to delete her number if she doesn't change her mind.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
European, so.
Oh, okay. European,
yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah.
That's different. They
It's too much tension.
what do they like? Faulty Towers? That's a good TV show.
I like Faulty Towers.
Yeah.
I love some Faulty Towers. But they like our stuff. They like Friends and crap stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they like some of it.
Mm.
They what else? For the writer's strike, you're talking about AI, because wasn't that a big part of the negotiations?
That was a part of the negotiations, yeah.
It's like they don't want people to...
To be able to write shows with AI.
Is that like a big like central point of it besides the money?
I mean, also the streaming rights because they're not getting any part of that stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I think it happened with I mean Scarlett Johansson because of the pandemic. Black Widow didn't come out in theaters, so it came out on Disney Plus,
Okay.
and people paid to see it on Disney Plus, and she didn't get any of the money from that. So it's kind of the same deal with well, actors have a little bit more leverage until Mid-Journey AI takes over. Where I don't know if you guys have seen the stuff they've been doing with Mid-Journey. They basically made Will Smith Hitler in Mid-Journey.
That's wild.
It's crazy what you can do at Mid-Journey. But the thing that they're fighting for now is the back end part of deals and streaming and like I think you saw it like people like South Park, they got a lot of money for Paramount Plus, Hulu. I mean Seinfeld the same thing too. To bring
Yeah.
it to Hulu and Netflix, they got like another $250 million or something.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay. So in addition to like the back end deals they worked out originally.
well, yeah, because Seinfeld was like okay with syndication, like they got paid for that.
Yeah.
But then by the time streaming came around, it wasn't like built in. I think the South Park guys wrote some other sort of deal during Netflix, like when it first came out, being like, "Oh, this is going to be a thing."
Oh,
So
okay.
we need to have like money, or like we need to have our streaming rights.
So
So
they had
were
it set
way
up
ahead of the curve.
so smart. Damn.
Yeah, but the rest of these guys are kind of behind the eight ball. Like I think like I don't know what's this. This show's like The Bear, where they're only on Hulu
Okay.
or they're only on Netflix. It's
Okay.
like how do you determine how much money you're making from that, or
I see.
you
Okay.
know, or streams or whatever. So they're basically fighting to get their money, which again they definitely deserve, because we don't want to see Transformers 2. That's a prime example of what happens when someone strikes
Yeah.
and they just have to make the movie up as they go along.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't you have a friend who was in Transformers?
yeah, he was in the Bumblebee Transformers though.
Okay. Okay.
That one was fully written.
Different situation.
Totally different situation. That one I believe was nominated for an Academy Award.
Wow.
Let's not check that, but I believe it was nominated for an Academy
No words
Award.
to say.
Yeah, best Transformers film of all time. And then I don't know. I don't know how long this strike can last. I imagine it can last a long time
Yeah.
because a lot of what I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna start making these new cheap shows, unscripted shows,
Okay.
which are pretty easy to actually do.
And when you say they, do you mean the studios or do you
The
mean
studios, I think
Right,
the
okay.
studios are gonna make. You're gonna see more reality television.
Yeah.
You're gonna see more
Love Island, that type of stuff.
Love Island, and honestly, this is gonna hurt probably like, well, maybe not hurt. It might help Disney because all of their stuff is scripted. Everything they do is scripted television, and right now they're gonna shut down. I guess like I don't know what the hell they. Disney's always making like 15 things at the same time, so
Yeah.
that'll slow down whatever that they're writing now. Phase 8 of Marvel or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know what trimesters 3 of whatever's going on in Marvel. So
Remake of Pocahontas or whatever.
yeah, whatever superhero or Star Wars we're on,
Yeah.
So
Well, how do you think it's going to resolve then?
they'll get the money.
They'll get the
They'll
money.
get the money. There's too much money on the line. It's like they're just trying to starve each other out. Where it's like, these streaming platforms are basically like, it's free money for them. And even though it's free money for them, it's not money that is a lot of money. Like for example, Disney Plus, that whole fight with Bob Iger and
Yeah.
the other guy.
Yeah.
The reason they said they fired the other guy is because Disney was losing money on Disney Plus, and they were, because they were creating a lot of just unnecessary content, like Moon Knight. What the hell is a Moon Knight?
Never even heard of that.
Exactly, but they're making just so many shows and so many characters and just spinning them out that Bob Iger came back and said, like, wait a minute, like, truthfully, we're in the theme park business and we're in the toy business. So, like, who the hell wants to buy? I think Moon Knight's like a Jewish superhero.
Okay, I've never
I'm pretty
heard
sure
of
he's
this.
like from Israel. I'm not 100%, but Bob Iger's like, who the hell wants to buy a toy of a Jewish superhero? And Bob Iger's
I mean,
Jewish.
yeah, I was gonna say I would think Jews would want to do that.
I don't think so.
I guess not.
No,
Okay.
because that
Yeah.
show didn't do very well. That's my point. Where it's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? People want to buy a Spider-Man or whatever, a Batman or something like that. You know, something where the parents get killed. Nobody wants to buy a toy of the Chosen One.
Yeah.
Because we'd all be buying Jesus action figures then.
Yeah,
and nobody's buying that.
It's gonna cause a problem. Yeah.
But anyways, the Disney was a prime example of basically spending too much money, and Netflix isn't constantly in debt.
Okay.
So for now, for the writers to come and say, well, we want part of the profits from it, they're like, but we're not making any money off of these streaming services. You know?
And they're trying to focus on profitability now too, a little bit more.
Yeah, they're gonna cut down on making so many shows.
Yeah.
I mean, the only ones that honestly don't care are Apple and Amazon, because they're in the product business. They're not in the TV streaming business. They have TV streaming services, but that goes along with you buying $1,000 phone.
Yeah, it's
or $1,500 phone.
Like, I've got a Prime account, but the only reason I use it is because I use Prime for like shipping and stuff. And
Exactly.
then I'm like, oh, that's free. I can use that for free.
And literally, either way, you're paying $12 a month.
Yeah.
Which is about how much Netflix costs.
Yeah, and then I gotta watch like old Al Pacino movies, like Serpico.
Yeah.
Great movie. Watch it.
Great film. Awesome film.
So that's like, I go, oh, that's like worth it. And then they have money that they can spend, I guess, every year. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, like that they're doing that because I know Amazon's starting to cut down on costs, but they can still fund it, I guess. Apple just reported, I think, record profits again. Like, I think they made $96 billion in a quarter. Like, something crazy. Even though it's like, it shows that their revenue growth is declining, it's still like they make so much money from their tablets and stuff. But
they also opened a bank, right? Like, you can put your money
Yeah.
in. They give the highest, was it interest?
yeah, high yield
Back.
savings account.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
like is it like 4.5% right now? Almost,
I believe so, yeah.
Almost 5%, and they got, I think, almost $1 billion. No, it was $90 billion in deposits in like a week.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If I had money, that's where I'd put it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, otherwise it's just sitting in a bank or nothing. Yeah, yeah. Give it to Steve Jobs or Tim Cook now, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, PEPE. Okay, so I went through those. Those are most of the things I think that I've had for this week. Oh, jobs report actually came in on Friday, and that was abnormally strong for this month. But they again revised down the job numbers for last month to where last month it was a beat, where they said for employment it was like well above projections. With the revision, it came in well below what it was. So they went from a beat to not like even in line. They went to, oh, it was worse than expected.
Basically, this is the wire where they're juking the stats.
Yeah, yeah. And Jolts like was another one that reported this week, which is a similar type of employment index. I don't know. Maybe people are getting like 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and that's why employment is so high.
Well, didn't you say that yesterday? That's what people are doing, that they're working 1 job as a software developer, but they're working for 3. Overemployed, yeah.
Those are people who are like, that's like a luxury to them.
Yeah.
Where they go, oh, I'm making $200,000 a year, but let me get 2 more jobs so I can make $600K.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking of like, well, what if it's someone who's like right at the poverty line and like they need to make ends meet. So they're like, I need to get like a job door dashing, and I'm an Uber driver, and I got a day job as like a receptionist.
Let me tell you something.
Or it could be both.
I had 2 jobs, and I was laid off. And now I'm unemployed. And let me tell you something. Unemployed is a full-time job. That's a full-time job. As soon as you wake up, you're on the clock. You are right away reminded, I don't have any more money coming in from employer. Right away. That's a taxing job. Like I said, I worked 2 jobs, and it wasn't as hard as being unemployed.
Looking for that dough.
Looking for more than that dough. I'm looking for that big pile of money like the Joker had in The Dark Knight when he set it on fire. I want that kind of level of money now.
Sometimes I'll send Alex job links that I see in the middle of the night, and the subject says "you up." It's like apply for this. Damn, yeah. So that's the other macro stuff that I had.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest story was, I think it was Monday, right? I believe like the day after I got back from the UK, that there was a homeless man who's on the train. His name's Jordan Neely.
Yep.
And this is a tragic case. He was choked to death by this guy. I think his name's Daniel J. Perry.
Yeah.
He's a Marine. And hold on, there was my theme song. He was choked to death by a Marine on the subway. I think it was the L train.
L train, yeah.
Yeah, it was
24 years old. The Marine was 24.
The Marine was 24. Daniel was 30. No, Jordan was 30. Yeah. Daniel was 24. And I think this is an interesting case because right now there's a lot of protests going on about it. Definitely one of the interesting things was that charges were not pressed right away, which says a lot. You could say on one half it is race, which I would agree with. I think on the other hand, just because of this podcast, I think a lot of it does have to do with, poverty, being poor, that there really wasn't anyone to press charges on his behalf. And I think the thing that might be lost in this whole entire case is, people kind of go, well, they said he was getting aggressive on the train. And I can say for sure, I've lived in New York, I feel like a decade now.
Yeah, same.
We've all been on the train where homeless people are getting aggressive, or regular people are getting aggressive. And never once has I ever thought in my head, I wish someone was here right now to choke this guy out to death.
Yeah, especially to death.
To death.
Let's say to death.
Yeah,
that's
maybe make him tap out, make him fall
Yeah.
asleep, throw him off the train. But he was choked for, they say, 15 minutes,
Yeah, an egregious amount of time.
which is an egregious amount of time. And this is a crazy incident because, so I did some digging into Jordan's backstory, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Jordan he's been homeless for a while and he has mental issues. But when he was 18, his mother was killed and stuffed in a suitcase by her boyfriend. And like the day that it happened, he was trying to say goodbye to his mother, but the boyfriend wouldn't let him.
Wow.
And he had to testify in his mother's own, murder case and everything.
Case. Wow.
Yeah, so I think sometimes, when we hear these stories, we just go, oh, this was just a crazy person and there is no humanity to them. But we kind of forget that, like, horrible things like this happen to people and you get involved in a system.
It's real people, too.
It's real people. And on top of this, the reason it's even more complicated is because, the guy who did it is a veteran.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of homeless people, too.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you do throw this guy in jail, which it probably will be just to, make everyone kind of the protest die down, he will now be one of the many veterans that are in jail. And who knows what's going on with his mental health at the same time. And he will now be, I don't know what the word is, I'm going to say indoctrined, but he will now go into a global prison, a United States prison system, which will now essentially make it slave labor.
Yeah.
And it kind of feeds into itself.
Yeah. Because no one has worse rights than a ex-convict.
Yeah, you make the least amount of money,
Yeah.
but you make corporations billions.
Can't get financing.
Yeah.
Can't, it's hard. I mean, that's why a lot of convicts are entertainers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think this is a part of a system, because this is weird for us, where it's like, New York has these instances where things like this pop up. Like last year, I believe it was December, there was a fire in a tenement that killed a lot of people.
Yep.
And the reason the fire happened was because someone plugged in a space heater. But really the reason the fire happened was because the heat wasn't turned on.
Yeah.
But the way they phrase it and frame it is that, oh, it's these, it's this defaulty space heater that killed these people, instead of the tenement project manager who didn't turn on the heat for people who are poor. And it's kind of indicative of a bigger system of that.
Yeah.
Poverty is a crime, which in some ways is punishable by death.
Yeah, like this case.
Like this
Tenements.
case,
And there's
tenements.
laws against that too, where it's like you need to have the heat at like a certain level.
Yeah, here in New York, it's supposed
So-
to be if the temperature outside is lower than 50 degrees, the heat is supposed to be on.
Yeah, and I know that because I've called 311 many times in my building.
Me too.
Many times.
Me too.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. This is a weird one because the cities gave up during COVID.
mm-hmm.
Basically, they gave up the subways to homeless people, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, the city is making it less habitable for homeless people to be around. Like, they're getting rid of benches.
Yeah.
They're getting rid of, I don't know, any places you can sit. They're putting spikes on it.
Making it harsh.
They're making it hard for people to even, like, loiter anywhere else. They're throwing them out of Washington Square Park, which is ironic because that's where the protest was, but that's also where there's, like, black homeless people in the corner. I just watched a white girl, like, walk through with her sign saying, being homeless and black shouldn't be a crime. But she just walked through all the black homeless people to get to the protest, which was, I don't know, that was...
That's like out of Black Mirror almost.
Literally, yeah. And so at the same time, you're not allowing these people to have a place to go, so they go to the subway.
Yeah.
And, Eric Adams, our mayor, I don't even know if he's a mayor.
If you
He's
could
like,
call him that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what he is, like Grand Admiral of the evil empire.
It's like an MC of the nightlife.
Basically, yeah, our resident DJ host. He's basically... He started putting out, he said, we're going to put more police presence on the train because these people are fare hopping. And in my experience, they're only putting them at, like, I don't want to say expensive stations, but well-to-do stations, like 34th Street, I don't even think 42nd Street, but, like, basically...
They have them at Times Square.
They have them at Times Square. So basically, they're not in Bedford, which is basically Williamsburg, which is where a lot of rich people, or maybe Lorimer if you're lucky, but they're not putting them everywhere. And really... they're putting the police out there, and that's to stop fare evasion. Yeah. So basically, they're there to stop the MTA from losing money. They're not on the trains making it any safer. And right now, we're having protests on the trains. They're actually going against the police right now on 63rd Street. And, yeah, this is just a cycle. Like, even if you threw this guy in jail, this is going to continue to keep happening because none of it deals with any of the problems of poverty, really. Like low wages.
Yeah.
This deals with none of that. Raising cost of living. This deals with none of that. This is just going to throw more and more people into this cycle. I mean, even the guy who killed him, I mean, he was unemployed looking for a job to be a bartender.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like it was affecting this guy too at the same time. Not to make him a victim or whatever, but it's also like no one has talked about like solutions. What about reforming and giving people who are homeless or unhoused, or how you want to put it, like a way back into the system because they've been out of it for so long? And there's definitely solutions that we could take. I mean, this is my opinion, but like, what about all these empty office buildings that people hate? Like, dude, no one wants to go into the office to work.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. No one wants to do it. Other than the C-level executives who are, I don't know, they have an ego trip. So why not convert some of these buildings to a place for, I don't know, for homeless people to get back on their feet? You can make it a public-private partnership, so you get financing. So the people who are like, they own the building, they're making money. The city, they're going to make money if you get people who are then back into the workforce. So it's actually a good thing for the city, right? And I don't think it would cost that much, like, in the scheme of things either. I know I'm just saying that, but it's like, if you throw a couple $1 billion at it, if you look at, like, a federal budget, it's not... Our federal budget, we're fighting over, what, trillions of dollars right now? Put a couple billion down to this at, I don't know, just, like, an office building. Like, it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing.
I mean, one thing for sure is you could at least increase the wages. I mean, I think the vote was last year. How many people turned it down?
Yeah.
A vote to increase people's wages. So, I mean, that contributes to all of our poverty. Yeah. Literally. And this whole, rugged individualism, which is an idea that, we believe we should... It's our fault if we're poor and we're not affected by anyone else, when truly we actually are. affected by, the government and decisions that are made. Like, why should they vote on our wages? That
Yeah.
makes no sense at
Yeah.
all. We don't get to vote on their wages.
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot of levels to this in capitalism, whatever you want to call it, that contributes to things like this, and that, I mean, even when Jordan died before, they said he was yelling literally, like, I hope I go to prison. I hope I get a big sentence,
Wow.
you know, before he was
Sad.
murdered. So, yeah, it's sad. It's one of
It's
those
really
things where
sad.
you go, like, what other option do you have, really?
Yeah.
Where we're living in a world where people are begging to go to prison because at least they have a place to sleep and something to eat. I mean, yeah, you'll be essentially indoctrinated into slavery, but
You got a cell. You got three hots in a cot, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's what I was thinking about, where I was like, this is a big problem, and I think it's going to keep bubbling up here in New York City
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. And, I think the fire last year was just an example. And I think this man being murdered was just an example. And, even Daniel himself, the guy who did it, it's, unfortunate because there's definitely something that was lost in the system with him too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And his life is over. Whether
Yeah.
that's a good thing if you viewed it that way or a bad thing, but it's pretty much two people's lives are over, which sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They shouldn't have been put in a situation where that even had to happen. Is what
No.
we're trying to say.
no, because I mean, if it's also too, it's even hard to get help
Yeah.
because of how restrictive a lot of these programs are. Like they will check to make sure you don't make a certain amount of money or whatever. I think to get food stamps or even to get into what is it, a housing?
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
what is it, the housing lottery?
Healthcare.
They
Same thing
check
too.
so much harder for that
Yeah.
than they do anything else. Healthcare too, like the rising cost of healthcare. I mean, it's insane how hard it is, to survive. I don't want to. I guess in this country,
Yeah.
and it's no surprise that we literally have the highest prison population. It's like it's all indicative of a system that is operating as it's supposed to under these people.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense when there's like publicly traded companies for prisons.
Literally,
Geo's one.
the owner of the Detroit Pistons, I believe that's how he makes a lot of his money is by overcharging prisoners on phone calls. Yeah.
Damn.
I'm
Yeah.
not 100% sure, but I feel like Michael Jordan's involved in some way too.
Interesting.
Yeah, not 100%. We might cut this out later, but if I find out, I'm pretty sure Jordan's involved.
Yeah. It's I go like this is cases where, okay, if people are proponents for capitalism, will find ways to use that system to make this better, right?
Yeah.
I go back to like, financing ways to help people where it's like a public-private partnership. There's a lot of them. You see it for infrastructure. Why don't you do it for people who are in bad situations? And find a way to make money. I don't give a shit. If it's helping other people, then make money off of it, but also help other people. It's kind of like affordable housing, right? Where people who own affordable housing, a lot of the money that they get is from the government. They don't actually get it from the tenants.
Yeah.
They get a good portion of it from the government. There's hot topics around affordable housing, if it's good or bad for pricing, but I'm just using it as an example for like politicians should get creative here instead of just also sitting outside and saying, oh yeah, we stand with you, this shouldn't have happened. It's like, there's a lot of people with good ideas, and it's like you should find a way to bring action to it.
Yeah, because the other alternative is literally it becomes a lot of the poor eating the poor.
Yeah.
Which is what happened in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Tupac was right. They got monies for war. No, they got money for war, but not to feed the poor.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, yeah. If we can talk about that this year with everything that we've seen.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing we don't want to get into. Um, what a messy situation this was.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But I think it's just, I think we're just gonna see this more and more as the bad times continue. You know,
Yeah,
it's not getting any better. Like,
yeah,
I think this is definitely we're headed. I don't know. I don't want to say a correction in the system, but yeah, we're headed somewhere.
yeah. I mean, like the market's doing okay, but like clearly
People aren't.
people aren't.
No.
Yeah, everything is lagging.
Yeah.
Like all of these, you don't raise rates 5% and money costs something now, and then you just expect, oh, it's going to be the same, and it takes time for that to kind of trickle through the system.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we were experiencing it in the city a little bit. So, yeah, wanted to talk about it.
That's all I got. It's very somber way to end the Sad Money number 13.
Yes, yeah,
But it is important that we talk about it.
yeah, yeah. And if you have ideas on how to, we don't want to just talk about the problems. It's also like we want to think about what are potential solutions, right? And what can people do. So if you have ideas, let us know, and we can share them or try to share them with people that we know also. So please, it's not just like I don't say, I don't want to say pity party, because there was that Zoom call with that CEO. I don't know
Oh,
if you saw
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
where she's like, you can't go to the pity party or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
It
Yeah.
was ridiculous. Whatever. It's
Yeah.
but we're all for like solutions too, right? I'm trying to spread the word.
Be the solution.
Be the solution. Be the change you want to see,
There you go.
right? That's it for me too. I didn't have anything else.
Well, that's it for episode 13 of Sad Money Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Patreon.
Yes, yeah. Bonus content is going up.
Yeah.
We already put some stuff up there with our Man on the Street content. We got more to come.
And we're doing more Ben on the Street stuff. And we're going to talk to some crypto bros.
Yes, we're gonna have some guests on, which
Yeah.
you'll really you'll like them. Believe us.
It's going to be a hot summer.
It's gonna be a hot summer.
Hot
That's
boy
right.
summer.
Yeah, and stay safe out there. All right.
100%.
We love y'all. Sad Money out.
Peace.
Peace.